Hi, welcome to SUHAS channel. Today we will discuss about the neural control system. In neural control system, today our topic is types of ion channels. So today we will discuss about the types of ion channels. Types of ion channels. So ion channels are categorized into different groups. So the first one is leakage channels. First one is leakage channels. Leakage channels. So these leakage channels are present on, so they are situated on or located on axolemma. Axolemma means here if you take the one neuron, so the neuron consists of axon. So in the neuron, so this axon is called by one membrane. This is called axolemma. This is called axolemma. Around the axon, one membrane covers, that is called axolemma. So these leakage channels are situated in, so they are present on the axolemma. If you take the one axolemma, this is called axolemma. So on the axolemma layer, so these channels are present. These are present. So these channels are present on the axolemma. This is called, so these are called leakage channels. These are called leakage channels. They are present on axolemma. So these leakage channels are two types. So the first one is sodium leakage channels. Sodium leakage channels. And second one is potassium leakage channel. So these channels are categorized into two groups. One is sodium leakage channel and second one is potassium leakage channel. Second one is potassium leakage channels. So they are situated on the axolemma. Actually this is axon membrane. So the inside the axon membrane one liquid is present. This liquid is called as axoplasm. So this is called axoplasm. Outside the axoplasm, extracellular fluid is present. ECF, extracellular fluid. Outside the axolemma, extracellular fluid is present. Inside the axolemma, intracellular fluid is present. This is called as a axoplasm. So these channels are situated in the axolemma layer. So when we compare these two channels, so when we compare the potassium channels with sodium channel, suppose this is the sodium channel, suppose this is potassium channel, it is also potassium channel. When you compare the potassium channels with sodium channels, so the potassium channel number is more than the sodium channel. So the potassium channels are more number than the sodium channels. So that's why here, so this axolemma membrane is more permeable to potassium ions. So this membrane is more permeable to, permeability to potassium. It is more permeability to potassium. Why here? More potassium channels are there when we compare with the sodium. More potassiums are transported through this membrane. That's why here, so this membrane, axolemma membrane, it has a more permeable nature to potassium, not as sodium. So here actually these channels, if you take these channels are always opens. So they don't have any gates. So these channels always opens. So this is also very important. These channels, so they always open. So they are always in open in nature. So these channels are always in open. So this type of channels, these channels are called as a leakage channels. These channels are called as a leakage channels. So leakage channels are situated in the axolemma. So these channels always open. So these channels are classified into two categories, two types. One is sodium channel, second one is potassium channels. So when I compare the potassium channels with potassium channels the number is more than the sodium channels. So that's why this membrane is more permeable to potassium. It is more permeable to potassium. So this is the first type of ion channels. The second one is ligand gated channels. Ligand gated channels. So already you have learnt about the leakage channels. So we will discuss about the ligand gated channels. So these ligand gated channels are present in postsynaptic membrane. So this is called postsynaptic membrane. Presynaptic membrane is related to axon terminal. Postsynaptic membrane is present in dendrites. So this is called presynaptic and postsynaptic. This gap is called synaptic cleft. Presynaptic, postsynaptic. Between these two membranes here some gap is there. This is called synaptic cleft. This is called synaptic cleft. So what is sinus? Presynaptic, synaptic cleft and postsynaptic membrane, commonly called as a synapse. So this type of gated channels are present in postsynaptic membrane. So these are present in postsynaptic membrane. So postsynaptic membrane present in dendrites. So it is present in dendrites of neuron. It is located in the dendrite of neuron. Actually these, already we discussed, leakage channels are always open. But these channels are opened and closes based on the chemical stimulus. So the chemical stimulus, depends on the chemical stimulus. So chemical stimulus generated by neurotransmitters. So here actually between the presynaptic postsynaptic, here one liquid is present. So this liquid is called as a neurotransmitter. So mostly acetylcholine is best example for neurotransmitter. Acetylcholine, histamine, dopamine, so many neurotransmitters are present. So when the chemical stimulus are neurotransmitters, so they act on these membrane. These ligand gated channels opens or closes based on the neurotransmitter. So these gates are opens or closes. So these ligand gated channels, they create the postsynaptic potential. And third one is called voltage gated channels. So these are very important channels in the axolemma. These are also present on axolemma. So these are very important channels. The opening and closing of voltage gated channels depends on change in membrane potential. When the membrane potential changes, then immediately either they opens or closes. So actually these voltage gated channels are classified into two types. These are classified into two categories. So the first one is sodium voltage gated channels, and second one is potassium voltage gated channels. So these voltage gated channels are also classified into two categories. sodium voltage gated channels and potassium voltage gated channels. So the sodium voltage gated channels again classified into two categories. So one is sodium activation gated channel. Next one is sodium inactivation gated channels. So here sodium voltage gated channels again classified into two categories: sodium activation gated channel, sodium inactivation gated channel. But what is sodium activation gated channel, inactivation gated channel? So if you take the one sodium gate, so this is the sodium gate. So here in anterior region one gate is present here. This is called sodium voltage gate. So in the anterior region, so this is called sodium voltage gate. So in anterior region one gate is there. This is called sodium activation gate. So in the posterior region, in bottom region, another gate also present here. In bottom region another gate is also present. So this is called sodium inactivation gate. So this sodium voltage gate, they consist of two gates: sodium activation gate and sodium inactivation gate. So these closing and opening of these two gates depends on the membrane potential. When the membrane is potentially changes, then only sometimes these gates are open, sometimes these gates are closed. Later we will discuss. So this is called as a sodium voltage gated channels: activation gate, inactivation gate. And potassium voltage gated channel. So the potassium voltage gated channel, only one type only present. In potassium only one type is present. Suppose if you take the one potassium gate, so this is called potassium gate, voltage gate. So they have only activation gate only. This is related to potassium. So the potassium, they consist of only potassium activation gate. So the potassium, they consist of only activation gate. So there is no inactivation gate. So these are the two types of voltage gated channel. They play important role in the exchange of sodium potassium in axolemma membrane. Sodium voltage gate channel is classified into two types: sodium activated gate, inactivated gate. Potassium voltage gated only one type, that is called potassium activated gate. So these two gates, they play a major role in the exchange of sodium potassium between the extracellular fluid to intracellular fluid. So actually, what is the main use of the voltage gated channels? So these voltage gated channels only, they create the action potential. This is very important. So the action potential, the nerve impulses is generated with the voltage gated channels. The nerve impulses is generated with the voltage gated channels.